Oh my god.
What?
Hold. So yeah, introduction, people,
Sorry, wait.
stuff. RahXephon
Wait,
Rewatch
what?
Podcast, LHC.
No.
It's us. Wait, no. There's a reason for this. We're recording this, for everyone who knows, a little earlier than normal because of changing schedules. Now, remember last episode where I ordered, right on the episode, some bottles of Ramune, yeah?
Is that where you disappeared to?
That's what literally turned up 5 seconds while we were just about to start recording
Nice.
at the door. So I have now in the freezer ready for the first Ramune review. That's why I wanted to just say, screw it, interview, LHC, it's Lewis and Hugh.
Okay, fine, you've jumped
Let's talk
on.
about how after, it should be cold enough because I've stuck it in the freezer, after the first episode we can do the first Ramune review.
We should do them between episodes, yes.
We are watching, of course, episodes
7 and 8 today.
7 and 8, and this is a first for me because these two episodes I haven't seen before.
Really? What are you
I've
missing?
seen the first chunk of RahXephon, and I've seen the last third of RahXephon. The middle third is all stuff I've never seen.
So, yes, episode 7 for me was the Day of Assembly, and for
Day of
Lewis,
Assembly, Phantom in the Cloud, which is interesting because you're referring to the Japanese name there.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Day of Assembly, but the English title is Phantom in the Cloud.
No, the English title is Day of Assembly, the Japanese was Phantom in the Cloud.
I wonder,
I know.
maybe the Wikipedia.
I wrote them down, and I specifically marked which one was mine of the two.
Very well then.
Okay. So, yes, this episode begins with the plane flying Jin, Watari, that's both the heads of Terra, in case we've forgotten, Makoto, that's the Federation Observer, yes, as well as the reporter.
Johi Futagami.
Yes, him.
A man of incredible Columbo cosplay potential.
Yes, definitely. But, this is when Jin asks Watari, why bring him? And frankly, his response should have been, he's the only reporter who wasn't a generic blank slate.
Yeah, he's the only reporter with
He's
character.
clearly-
Didn't you see him in the last episode? He had a fan.
He had personality. He's also the only one that asked a relevant question.
Yep.
I mean, if you're going to have to do anything... I mean, if you meet someone who's clearly a character, the only response is, hey, you want to fly back with us to where the main plot's happening? You're clearly going to be needed there at some point.
Exactly. Again, we get this nice thing of how Jin is very much a straight-talking, very sort of looking person, whereas Watari has a little bit more sort of public face on him, because Futagami comes up to him and asks him about finding info on site, and I remember writing this down. Yeah, Watari promises a cute guide to help him out on the island.
Yeah, at which point Holly thought he was offering him sex. with a young man.
Oh, with Kim, not with...
No,
with,
before we'd even finished this scene, Holly was like, did he just offer him sex with a young boy? It's just like, what?
Wait, she immediately went for young boy. That's
Yes,
interesting.
she did. I was wondering if it was because she said guide and misheard that as guy. But, yeah, no, Holly was just like, is he offering this reporter a young man? I've got a note from her which is the reporter a sex pest?
Yes!
Because it does seem like that.
If there's
like,
one
no,
thing
it's
I'd
just-
say, adding up a lot of the characters we're meeting in RahXephon, Futagami's one of the less sex-pesty people.
I know.
I mean, even on that plane.
I think it might just be that she's not used to the traditional Japanese old man thing of a cute young person to show me around in a non-sexual way, because that's kind of a traditional Japanese sort of thing from what I've noted from generic anime. It might not be an actual Japanese thing, but certainly in anime it's a thing of
I get the feeling
young cute people to help. Just having them around is fine.
it's a sleazy Japanese business thing. You get all your young people to do all the FaceTime stuff.
No, exactly, yeah. So,
Which I've seen plenty of Japanese businesses that do other. I mean, most Japanese businesses these days prefer to do their interaction through mascots. So
yeah.
don't even
True,
have people
true.
anymore.
That would be funny if RahXephon had in fact been, yeah, don't worry, I'll get you to be shown round by Psychodolum, the Moo mascot.
Yeah.
What's that, Psychodolum? He's wearing red shoes stained with the blood of humanity.
How are things going, Psychodolum?
Psychodolum has just burst your eardrums. It's just fantastic, I killed several cities earlier. Why
Before we rush on,
map?
we're still talking about the setup of this episode. This is one of the other episodes written by Ichiro Okuuchi, who would go on to write Code Geass.
Yes, and the one we pointed out last time was kind of full of inconsistencies in both characters and the plot.
Massive inconsistencies, which is actually...
Yeah.
I was feeling pretty bad about this one, but this episode proved to be alright.
No, I was going to say, there isn't any major inconsistencies or plot holes that I could see in this one. No characters acting out of sorts either, apart from if you consider offering sex to the reporter as being something he actually did. But no, also, Watari explains his actual reason, not because he's a character, was since their secret weapon isn't going to be secret forever, you may as well get a good spin on it. And
yep.
I really respect that, to be fair. I think it's a very good tactic. It's a case of, well, at some point the press is going to talk about us. If we're really nice to this guy, we wine and dine him and show him around all the sort of non-top secret bits, then, yeah, he's going to put a positive one out, rather than just psychos in terror have harnessed evil Ro to fight people and doom us all.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get a positive sort of thing out of it.
Then we move on to Ayato and the staff, all standing in the main operations centre of Terra. And this is when we find out that the giant dome in the background isn't actually just there for being a giant symbol.
Yeah,
it is, in
Ayato
fact,
can actually get into the RahXephon this way.
And they say it's like a relic of previous Mu technology, which is interesting, but you're like, okay, so previous Mus needed to randomly teleport people into RahXephons then.
Well, other Dolums. But yes, it's almost certainly a lie, isn't it?
No, once again, Dolums don't have pilots in them.
Yes, that's true. Dolums don't have pilots.
So you wouldn't need a reason to teleport someone into a Dolum. This is definitely a Zephon machine. It's a machine to send the Olan into the Zephon. And if it is ancient, if it's not a lie, and it really is an ancient thing, then there was clearly a Dolum in the past that wasn't a Dolum, was in fact a Zephon, and there was an Olan as well. I'm going to get mixed up between Olan and Dolum, aren't
I? No, you won't. There's a sequence actually in this which I think is kind of funny, but also kind of brings up an important sort of theme with the RahXephon, or a motif with the RahXephon, which Kim and Megu are talking, and they're saying, "Oh, I wonder how it works." Well, I bet Professor Akitsuki knows. He seems to know everything.
Yeah.
And then after Ayato goes in, it cuts to Akitsuki going, "How the hell does all of this work?" He literally says, "How does all of this work?" Because it seems the RahXephon does it all on its own.
It's just a case of, so we get Ayato to touch a stone upstairs, and he randomly appears in the stone here, and then in a beam of light floats into what appears to be a small circular pod at the front of the RahXephon, and suddenly then is in a massive cockpit that doesn't really exist in real space. Mm-hmm. So you're like, yeah, I can't blame him for not actually knowing how any of that worked. It's one of these style over substance science bits as well.
I think that's deliberate, because it's the whole thing of RahXephon is powered with art, isn't it? And is powered by an artist. So sort of like, oh, you scientists and you material types can't understand the deep artist who powers this world-changing machine. Again, we have this thing that can change the world, and it's done through art, which none of the other people who are usually involved in running the world, the scientists or the military people, seem capable of understanding. Yeah. And I'm just saying, it's another one of these bits of RahXephon I keep on thinking of, mostly made by artists, and oh, what a shock. The most deep and important things in the universe are art.
This is also, though, when we get a long, intricate look at lots of bits of the RahXephon moving around with lots of metally, military-sounding mech noises as well.
Well, yeah, this very much reminds me, of course, of Brave Raiden's cockpit entering sequence, which the hero does the same thing. He sort of melds into a stone and then appears in the cockpit. So that doesn't seem proportional to the machine. So I think this is just them sort of doing here's Brave Raiden's cockpit entering sequence, but dark and edgy.
Fair enough. There's quite a bit dark and edgy going on at the minute as well. This is them using the random teleporter stone in. The thing is, they've got this big stone in the main base to teleport him in, which is really quite useful. But they'd probably be more useful, like, at his house, I would have thought.
You want to take it? Well, the problem is, I'm pretty sure this is an important piece of, like, equipment. They can't just randomly stick it in.
No, I know they can't randomly just stick it anywhere, but that's a sentence that shouldn't be taken out of context.
Yeah.
No, I do realise that, but I'm just thinking, right, if he's at Terra, he's in one of a couple of places. He's with the RahXephon in the sciencey area, or he's in the main room. But the main room doesn't seem to be that far from the RahXephon. It doesn't seem to be like, oh, this will take you 20 minutes to get there. Whereas his home is the place he's going to spend the vast majority of his time outside of Terra, and that thing's a f***ing miles away. I mean, they go on a ferry.
Yeah, but they're limited by, space and places where he could actually comfortably live.
Yeah, I know. Which is fine that he lives there, but if you're going to put a giant teleporter stone anywhere, I mean, I'd have it a giant teleport to work stone, but then I'm just lazy.
Nah, that's, like, important. I can see them suddenly going, no, this is, like, Terra stuff we stole from the Moo. Stay away.
Yeah, we also have Ayato saying, why am I lying around in my underwear? And Quan isn't. This is just, sexually insensitive by this point. I've grown used to being in my underwear with her. So the next bit, Alfie has completed the transfer of all of her old team members to replace generic dead people.
Yeah, LV has brought in 3 other people who she had only seen 2 years ago. And they all got together. And these people all seem to be vaguely diverse, but they're not really named or introduced yet. So
no.
I'm gonna hold off.
We'll leave them properly, but mostly all we get from them is a few racial comments about one another. One of them says, all Caucasians are like this.
So they use the word Caucasian, do they?
Yeah,
so they do
in
say...
the English dub, they say, all Caucasians are like this, and I think it's in response to someone going, the Japanese, you're all like this. And the black guy's going, at least no one's saying I'm black.
The guy who I believe is LV's trainer, he says, there's no soul to the maintenance team. He says, the maintenance team are good at dealing with their planes, which look like the Fulcrum I remember from Ace Combat. They were always very familiar, but I remember they remind me of a fictional plane from Ace Combat. And he says there's no soul, and the lady, who I assume is American, because she's not only blonde and white, but wears a motherfucking almost 10-gallon hat on her head.
She's Texan. She's clear. Like, I don't even know if she is Texan or not, but I'm going to call it as Texan right now. She's also yet another character that's introduced mostly by her chest.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But so he says this, there's no soul. And she says, oh, soul. They have, you people who were born in the 20th century sure have weird ways of talking about stuff.
Everything has to have a soul.
Yeah, and then the other guy, which now this is the interesting thing, because he does say hakujin in Japanese. So he does say, it's one of the odd things about white people is you only think with what you can see, which is like, no, they don't. If anything,
really.
I've always found white people way more susceptible to weird new agey crap than other people. If I were to make a racial judgment, which you really shouldn't, can I just say? But if
we're not racist, but...
No, knife to my throat, you must be racist. I would say, yeah, white people are more susceptible to this bullshit. But really, it's not anything. But I just found that was a very weird thing. But what people who are watching this in Japanese, who might not get what they're saying, she says, I know what you're saying. You're telling me to put more yellow things in the living room. Now, you might think that's a snipe back at this guy, who's very obviously Chinese.
I did think that.
Or again, maybe Korean, something else, but I get the feeling probably Chinese.
They did actually say in the English, she says, you may want to put more yellow things in my house. That's feng shui bullshit.
Oh, great. So she actually does say it's
feng shui bullshit. She does at least clarify why.
Yeah, in the Japanese one, she just says more yellow things in the living room. Oh, I'm glad in the dub they at least say, yes, it's because that's where you should put certain yellow
Otherwise,
things in
you really would think, maybe she's saying, what, you want me to bring Japanese people into my house?
Yeah, it really did have because he said a slightly.
They're all doing They're all doing racial commentary at this point.
No, they're not. That was just the only line I remember. Line I remember is him just saying the white thing. That's the only thing. And the thing that could be misconstrued from that is when she says, "You want me to put more yellow things in my living room?"
No, but that she's saying that because you Oriental people all do feng shui.
Well, because he in particular is talking about feng shui.
Yeah, well, he's not.
He is.
He didn't mention it, did he?
Well, no, he doesn't mention it, but there's like an implied relationship in that he's constantly telling her to apparently improve her feng shui, and she's saying, no, that's bullshit.
See, this is a very different conversation if you don't have the thing of their old friends. Otherwise, it's just a case of, hi, I've recruited you 3 people. Let's meet and greet each other with casual racism.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a good thing they are old friends, or this entire scene will be far more awkward.
But anyway, I do like this team. They're cool and everything. And Guy, who said that the engineers didn't put enough soul into their work, does refer to LV by her code name, which means sort of Rose Blossom. But
this is also when the people on the plane earlier arrive.
Yep.
And Makoto goes, you're the only survivor of Operation Overlord. I wonder if that means you're lucky. Or maybe you're the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, he just straight up says that. Same in Japanese as well. It's a lot of, are you a goddess of luck or a goddess of death?
And then she tries to hide the scythe and goes, shit, what gave me away?
LV's friend gets really pissed off at this, her Texan friend, but that gets disarmed by Futagami turning up because he's way cool. And drops some pretty amazing hints that he knows more about what's going on than you might think, because he say, is it true that Tokyo Tower is blue there? Which, I mean, what's he knowing about the significance of...
The thing is that his character, almost all the dialogue we get from him, for the vast majority of this series even, he walks up to people and goes, hi, I'm going to imply that I know everything through a series of poignant questions. And they're going to turn around and go, hi, I'm going to give you a default brush-off answer, but not really deny anything properly. Is this sort of, he walks up and goes... I know, but that's all his dialogue ends up being, him turning up and just going, I know things, and they go, we know you know, but we're denying it, without just out of generic, because we have to, really. So yeah, that'll happen all the time he's in this. But it is quite useful, though, for him to turn up and just ask these poignant questions, in case the watcher has forgotten to ask them themselves. It's like, hey, did you not spot that this is happening? Don't worry, the reporter will be asking that for you. So, then we have Tarijin and Makoto manage to get inside and meet the Major. The Major is offered up onto the altar of reporter guiding and paid in souvenirs. And this is when we have Watari showing his real sort of... he has no professional mannerisms with his staff, from what we can see. He's their friend, he's just like, oh, I felt so bad about giving you extra work, so here I bought you some running round, smiling at people, handing out bags full of sweets.
Yep, he's got lots of souvenir sweets for everybody, which is nice, because he's a nice counter to Jin, who of course brings nothing back.
No.
except his sour face.
Yeah, his animosity towards life, generally. No, I do really like this character. He is extremely fun to be around, I find. No, we then have Itsuki and Sayako talking with the RahXephon about how cooperative that Ayato has become.
Yes, there we go. Yeah.
This is when Itsuki decides to just bash the whole genre that the show is a part of. And you just go, yeah, the young boy, taken from his own place to fight to save the world. It's rather touching, really. And he says it in the snarkiest, bitchiest way imaginable. So it's just literally this thing of completely dismissing Ayato's entire existence as just another one of those boys piloting robots, is it? We also have Ayato then in the changing rooms with Sayako, trying to ascertain what in the hell you buy Haruka for a gift.
Yep.
And I think the answer is more work. I'm pretty sure that's the only thing so far that we know she actually likes is work and Ayato.
That's true.
So you can either put a ribbon on yourself. No. But you can either put a ribbon on yourself or you can get her more work to do. That's pretty much how I think the Christmas party should go for him.
But of course, there's an interesting bit there where he says, aren't you too close? And she goes, not close enough to be good friends, but we know each other. And there's this, she deliberately puts distance between herself and
Haruka, yeah. But it's also a thing that was worth noting is he refers to Megumi as easy. It's like, what about you? Do you know what you're getting for her? It's like, oh, she's easy. She's easy to figure out, I think is the exact way of saying it. And yet, in just meeting her in a couple of episodes, Ayato has immediately categorized and dismissed Megami entirely. And I completely agree with his assessment here.
Oh, how me.
No, the thing is, as much as Megami might be a nice person-ish, she's not, and she'll prove she's not later on. Mostly, she really is quite cookie-cutter generic. And it's nice that Ayato doesn't make any efforts to try and hide this fact from the audience. But he does say that he doesn't actually get Haruka at all, really.
Yeah, he's unsure about what to get for her.
Yeah, this is when Sayako offers a shoulder to cry on, and that's definitely not a shoulder that she's offering, really. The thing is, I was like, why are all the characters with large breasts actually always trying to be either slutty or seductive, or just, they just make so many hints and insinuations about things in this. So just a little frustrating, really.
I don't know, I don't think they're doing it that much, but even if you think they look to be, I'd say, look to the people who made it.
Yeah, I know. But Holly pointed out, she said that it doesn't help that every time Sayako and Ayato are alone, she referred to it as porno music, what gets put on in the background.
This is not how I saw this scene at all. This just seemed like a brief little scene where you saw Sayako deliberately putting social space between her and Haruka.
Oh, she does that,
while
but
she tries
mostly
to interact with Ayato.
See, I didn't see it as just trying to make space with Haruka, as in trying to be, hey, Ayato, look at me, I have these, sort of thing.
No, I didn't get that at all. I didn't really
Maybe it's a different thin delivery from by Sayako, because in this, it's in the English, certainly, she's dismissive of the conversation about Haruka very quickly, and she's really... She sounds a lot more like she cares about the dialogue when it's referring to her and Ayato. The thing is, though, because it's really obvious that she likes the Doctor, there's not... She seems to be vaguely flirting with him just out of habit. That's the thing. It's not like there's really an end game for her with Ayato. It's not like if Ayato went, oh yeah, could you please come here to the... It's just, yeah.
Again, didn't seem like flirting to me, so...
Well, that's fair enough. But, yeah, after his, I'm not even sure what to call it, insinuations or whether, no. After his changing, we move back to Jin and Haruka, who is congratulating her on her official transfer coming through. And,
so she's now in their department. Reason given for transfer?
No longer...
Stalking.
I know. No, reason given for transfer. Well, I had to leave intelligence because every time I look at him, all of my intelligence leaves me. So yeah, she goes into operations so that she can start operating him rather than just thinking about him. So it's congratulations, Ayato is now cooperating. So the Major arrives eating his sweets, and he implies that Haruka has a significant person in her life anyway. Because he... Did you have that in your translation?
No, didn't seem...
No?
No. It's saying that, he's really adapted, and then he comes in and he goes, oh, he must have something special, here. And then he refers to the Major, and she goes, hey, what are you referring to? And I go, well, yeah, he's pointing out the obvious the obvious link between you and Ayato as principal characters.
I don't know, see, in the English, it was more that he was saying, Ayato, maybe he's got someone here that he likes, and like you, sort of thing. But it was more that... With me, it felt more like he was insinuating something about Megami, to be fair, I thought, and saying that Haruka had someone else. But he also then gets quizzed about where the hell the reporter is, because he's meant to be, showing him around.
Yeah, he says, where's the reporter? He said that the reporter was heading off because he wants to find his places. That's why this scene change weirded me out. He says, the reporter's looking for some places that he likes to hang out in the island. In the big city that we see that we almost never see. And but then from that we cut immediately to a longboat for some reason.
It's just a case of where is he? Oh, he's in the city. The city of... Why is it suddenly night in a longboat? Yeah.
So we don't see anything of Futagami. Instead, what we see is we have Itsuki and Makoto sitting on either ends of the ship having a sinister off.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, hey, do you want to have a meeting? Yeah, I think we better talk about some stuff. Okay, I'll meet you on the most romantic place we can think of. Let's go sailing in the moonlight under the waterfalls and arches of this lake. I mean, say, what the is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Also, it's not like it's night either. How do they find a moonlit lake? They appear to have gone down to where the RahXephon pool is, as far as I can tell.
Yes, they have.
And just gone for a sail around it.
Yep.
I mean, what possible reason do you have for doing this? Really?
Maybe Itsuki wants to try out his clearly remote control longboat, because he seems to be playing around with a remote control while he's talking, and no one's pushing the longboat. So
it's just sailing in a perfectly straight line.
Yeah.
Maybe it's on rails, but yeah. So
you're saying there's like a Disney ride attached.
No, the sinister off, as you put it, is. I didn't think of it as a sinister. This is when I think Holly pointed out they're both the most evil characters you can imagine, having a nice evil off really here.
I don't know. This is the thing. I don't think Makoto has actually done anything that evil. He's been a bit sinister, but I don't think he's done anything that evil.
Yeah. But
neither really has Itsuki, and like I said, Itsuki's way more sinister than Makoto, I think. At the moment.
Oh, yeah. No, but he hasn't done anything yet, but he is really quite sinister here. When Itsuki says, so you're here as an observer for the Federation, and Makoto says, yes, specifically to observe you. Which is not something that's ever been said to anyone else in the whole thing. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not here to look at the RahXephon, not here to look at the pilot, not here to be looking at any of the people in charge of anything. I'm looking at you, science dude.
Yeah, he says, he doesn't say it quite as definitively then, if that's how he sounds like in the English one. In Japanese, Itsuki says, an observer from the Earth Federation, and he goes, yes, an observer for you. But that, said in Japanese, that can mean you, but you all as well.
Ah, no, in the English it came off as specifically you there in the boat. That's why we've come on a romantic cruise. I plan to seduce you, then I can watch you sleep and observe you at all times of the day. Now, they also go on about how when they were young, he convinced him to sneak out. So, Itsuki convinced Makoto to sneak out. I think it was that way around.
He told us to sneak out of here.
They grew up together in some way, and they were at least acquaintances to the point of, convincing one another. So, most likely friends of some sort. It's also when Makoto says, are you, how do you stand hanging out here with those people, Again, it's he's grouping himself with Itsuki here, of those two are different compared to those people.
Well, they are having a conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But
it's not like this whole conversation is throwaway, but we're not given any decent conclusion. It is just sort of, they're going to stand up, they're going to say mysterious things, and then the scene's going to end.
Well, the thing is, the scene does this for a bit, and then the whole second half of the scene is based on the thing of, I've always been alone. That's cold. Really? You think that's cold? Let's have a 5-minute conversation about how I'm cold, Erlen. They go on about how cold he is for quite some time.
Wow, no, I don't remember this at all. He just talks about how they used to know each other. They used to get him to skip out. How do you feel being around here? And as he keeps on asking him things, eventually Itsuki just ignores him and then takes an umbrella out, puts it up, because he's like, we're nearly here. And he's like, what? And then they go through a waterfall. And so Itsuki's fine. And meanwhile, Makoto is completely soaked. And he just goes, that's so cold. And even then, he doesn't say cold. He says, the Japanese word for sort of mean that has cold in it.
Well, I don't know. See, I liked that joke, to be fair. I thought that was very good. And also,
I loved that joke. That was the best part of the episode for me.
It knocks Makoto down a peg as well. He stops being this whole together, aloof, mysterious, sinister dude, and it's just like, ha ha. It's a little boy trick from someone when you were a little boy. Yeah, after we have the nice waterfall moment, we do go back to Ayato meeting the reporter, and yet another conversation. Advertising.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Ramune. Yeah.
Yes.
Futagami buys a bottle of Ramune, and he's about to drink it, and Alice says, you won't be able to drink it. You've got to catch the... And I find it interesting, because the English, they translate it both in the subtitles and I believe in the dub as marble, don't they?
Yeah.
You've got to catch the marble in the thing. But the term the Japanese actually use is bead. They actually use the English loanword bead.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he says you've got to catch the bead in the grooves to drink it like that. And it's like, wow, that was like 5 minutes of nothing. It's really weird, because the Ramune bottles here are completely packageless. They have no packaging on them. I mean,
really?
They're unique enough looking bottles when you look at them that you can go, oh, that's a Ramune bottle. But the Ramune bottles that I have, we're going to have a look at the end of this episode, have like at least a usual amount of packaging around that you'd have around a soft drink.
This is the thing. There's several scenes in this series which are entirely devoted to the discussion of Ramune soda. It recurs so often for no real reason.
Despite all the stuff I've looked up on RahXephon, I've not heard whether or not they were ever sponsored. Like in the way Code Geass was sponsored by Pizza Hut. Whether or not they were sponsored by Ramune.
Kept ordering it.
They must have been, because they refer to it by name, and you generally don't do that unless you're sponsored by somebody in an anime. So they must have been.
It's also, if they were sponsored, it's a sort of irritating product placement, because I can tell you, there isn't a payoff to this.
No, there isn't a payoff.
There isn't. I mean, all the things that we're insinuating that we're trying to talk about and avoid talking about, the payoff to, oh, this scene, or oh, the payoff to that scene. No, there isn't a payoff to any of the Ramune scenes.
No, it'd be weird.
It'd
be great if one of the secret foundations that's controlling this whole fight against the moon are also making the Ramune as well. Yeah. Just arbitrarily, you can have an evil meeting at the Ramune factory.
And it just cuts to them going,
this is how they get the bead into the bottles.
Thankfully, because of several people buying Ramune on that island, we've now managed to get enough money to do the evil plan. We needed to sell 3 more bottles and Ayato has bought them.
Yeah, so if you're thinking there's going to be some sort of payoff, guys, with this Ramune thing, it ain't.
Nope.
It's just product placement. But anyway, after the product placement...
In the same way that there is no payoff for you drinking Ramune and you drinking it on this podcast is also product placement. The difference being, we're not getting paid by them. They then have a bit of bonding over the marble and how pointlessly stupid putting a marble in your drink is. Or bead, as you want to call it. At which point, Ayato admits to driving a pizza truck.
Yeah, because he says, I work, so I understand kind of how you have to go all about the place.
Yeah.
to which it was great. As Fujigami says, I didn't think they still had those. Because, of course, Ayato is technically from the past, kind of, and he lives in the future, and maybe they have a better way of distributing pizza.
He's 12 years in the past, I think.
Yeah, 12 years in the past.
Yeah.
I don't think there'd be that much of a change.
Well, to be honest, it's not just that it's 12 years in the past, it's also that the 3 years of those 12 that he was in the Mu, they wouldn't have done any new technology.
I don't know.
Technically speaking, he'll have stagnated for 15 years, because the Mu working on tech would have been working on Mulian tech, and also you wouldn't have had any influences at all from the outside world into Tokyo. Mm-hmm. Tokyo is then completely standalone. So yeah, it's not just a 12-year time difference that you're accounting for, it's 15 years, and I can tell you that 15 years, pretty big difference in tech. 15 years ago, no one had a smartphone, for example.
So I bet today, I mean, you can have a pizza, but you've got to keep like a marble in the centre of the pizza box, otherwise the pizza cuts your hands off.
The pizza's balanced on multiple marbles, and you have to then roll it into your mouth while avoiding swallowing any of the marbles, because they're all made of cyanide.
Yeah, it's got to be something like that, because
when you consume things, it has to be both a puzzle and an inconvenience for following around marble.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's not the future. But I'm not quite sure how pizza trucks have been replaced in this world, but apparently it's surprising that pizza trucks exist. I think it might just be, why would you have a pizza truck?
I think he's just trying to spook him, because of course he knows he's the pilot of the RahXephon.
No, he doesn't, actually. At this point, he does not know that.
He doesn't, well, no one's told him, but I get the feeling, like I said, he's like Columbo. He's already worked it all out by the time he's there. He's just trying to get proof.
No, I'll cite the point that... No, he already knows that there's a pilot, but he doesn't know it's Ayato. He doesn't know it's this random boy he's drinking soda with.
That's true, he doesn't even know that's Ayato, does he?
No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
he works out it's Ayato later on in the episode, but right now, it's just male bonding over bullshit food items.
And work.
We also then have the conversation of, if you take that bottle back, you can get the cost of the bottle back.
Yes.
Refund it to you.
Yes, Ayato says this because he leaves it to him so that you can do that. And that's been in plenty of countries, you with glass return, incentivize people to recycle glass. But Ayato does this after getting a text that a Dolem's appeared, so he's got to go off and fly RahXephon. What I can only establish is the oldest looking text display I have ever seen. It looks like like those things in those displays made up of tiny little lights that are in train stations.
Yes.
Where really, like a pixel's
Like a
a
pixel
friggin'
board,
2mm by 2mm. It's like that.
Yeah. No, this is also Ayato's pizza thing. I just put it down. It's the worst cover story ever, as well. It's like it's completely pathetic. It's like, well, what do? Well, I drive a can't say mech, pizza truck.
Does he say pizza truck in the dub?
He does. He says pizza truck. I drive a pizza truck.
He just says pizza delivery in the Japanese one.
Oh, right, okay, because I was like, when is the last time your pizza got delivered by anything other than a bike or a dude in a car?
Exactly, yeah.
And also, why would an island... Because he lives in the most remote part of this remote area. There's nothing else around him from what we can see. He's up a stupid hill.
I can understand that. There's a big city. There's a big city right near him, though.
There's a big city a ferry ride away.
Yeah. I think it's a regular thing that people might have to do. People who live on the regular island rather than the reclaimed land.
The thing is, I think that Ayato is telling him to return the bottle for the cost because Terra is really low on money because they keep wasting it on all this bullshit. He gets back to the Terra base, gets in the RahXephon and is like, okay, what we're going to have accompanying you is more standard military tech.
No, they look pretty advanced, those advanced flying things. And they...
No, I know, but it's just, considering the amount of resources they wasted on planes, people, and ammunition of all of the things in the other previous episodes, that might be why they've got such a small operational staff. Just because they haven't got the money, they sunk it all into really shitty... I think that the Watari fancies the arms dealer. That's the only explanation here. You know, like all those doctors who are prescribing drugs that people don't need just because they like the pharmacist's pharmaceutical rep. Mm-hmm. It's that. There's some sort of weapons rep selling them pointless technology that Terra's then buying in the tonnage.
Pointless? I don't know. It does. They do all right in this episode.
In this episode, they do something. I will give you that they will do something. But there hasn't been a battle yet where they haven't just been, oh, look, a Dolem, we'd be wiped out to the last man if it wasn't for the RahXephon.
Yeah, it's still early starting off. There's been like 2 engagements.
Nah, there's been like 6.
6?
There's been... Well, there was like 1 an episode.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but that's different. That's 1 engagement. They were only there for 1 bit for that one.
I see. I always thought of Operation Overlord as being several engagements as part of the same operation, but
no, that was all one thing.
Okay, but it depends on how you clarify when it begins and ends. But so yeah, we then have this Dolem. Now this Dolem introduced as being 2 legs. That's
2 legs.
it.
And
very,
it is
very
called
thin legs.
Forzandio, which means with a strong accent.
Nice. So this one's 3 miles as well.
It's 3 miles tall and goes on tiny spindly legs that are useless.
Yeah, I liked the fact that there's these legs that appear to be walking.
That's all we see.
But the legs are a troll because it's a 3 mile long fortress that the legs aren't supporting it. It's hovering, and the legs aren't included in those 3 miles either. It's literally 3 miles without the legs.
Yeah,
it is an obscenely huge thing. So yeah, we have our doting pilots going, we can actually fight this Dolem. We will shoot all of our missiles at this leg. And they actually do destroy it, which is when it's revealed that the legs are f***ing pointless because it hovers, and the legs have no weapons, they don't do anything, they're just literally there to make pilots feel that they're useful.
And instead it releases lots, and quite a lot actually, of these things called dotems, which I think look kind of cool.
Oh, I really like the dotems. They're really cool.
Like if Shy Guys could fly.
And shoot lasers from their shy eyes.
Yes. So yeah, they got those, which I would again say that the pilots don't seem to have much trouble dogfighting and dealing with.
No, they don't, because those haven't got the ridiculous shielding that all the Dolems seem to have. Because, yeah, they have a little dogfight with that, and you're like, yeah, fair enough. Those, I can certainly see there's a reason why you could do well against the tiny clay puppets with lasers. But I really like the clay things that fire lasers from their eyes. I'm sorry, it's just cool.
They are cool, and they're very cute. And they actually, despite how well the pilots manage, RahXephon still manages, despite being not able to hit any of them, because they just fly into RahXephon and blow up.
I know. Yeah, they don't actually shoot RahXephon with lasers, they just randomly slam into him and die instantly from doing that. Maybe they're the offspring of the previous Dolan that flew into RahXephon and died pointlessly.
Yeah.
It's just something hereditary. You know, like the way lemmings jump off cliffs even though they really don't. It's just in the genes, man.
So the battle is very simple, because with this drawn-out fight against lots and lots of enemies, Elvie gets very pissed off because she wants revenge against the Dolums.
She does keep saying, "Revenge! Revenge for my death squad!
Yeah.
My dead squad need revenge."
So she uses the leg as a guide and flies up through the clouds so that she can see the main body of the Dolum. And
immediately gets caught in a web.
Gets caught in a web and gets hit with a, the D1 wave, the scary
Aria.
Yeah.
Also, I'd like to point out that everyone in the minute they detect this, everyone in the operations room goes, "It's a D1 Aria! Oh my god, let's all have a freak out!" I'm like, you detected a D1 signature, you sent people to fight a D1, why were you not expecting an Aria? They all have Arias. All the D1s have Arias. As soon as you get near the damn thing.
This D1 Aria, it looks the same shape as the shape that we saw in a previous episode, and I think that's the thing that sort of like vaporizes cities.
They all look like that.
So I don't think they all... Oh, really? Do they all look like that? All of the waves?
Virtually all of them are just those circles on the wave. Yeah, all
what
the
the hell, RahXephon? You usually try so hard, but in your Aria shapes... And I would often say your backgrounds, because I remember seeing quite a few backgrounds in these ones that just look a bit plasticky and horrible. You really don't sort of bring your A game sometimes.
We can blame the director. It's still the Code Geass director, so I'm blaming him.
He's not the Code Geass director. The director only did this, and then he moved on to... Oh, you're going to blame the writer for the art
I can blame the writer for whatever I feel like. That's my right as an uninformed prick.
Does seem to be that way,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not doing it really. Anyway, so yeah, she gets caught in this web immediately, and then starts dying horribly from the sound waves. But
it seems, but gets saved by RahXephon.
Yeah, RahXephon turns up and goes, "Do you know what? You can sing. I can sing in the exact opposite way, neutralizing your song," proving once again that RahXephon is bloody overpowered. Because almost all of these things fight with their sound waves, and RahXephon just goes, "Nope, instinctively neutralized, done." Which is really quite good. Which is when the clouds grab RahXephon and hit it with lots of red lightning, which looked awesome, by the way. I was a huge fan of red lightning hitting RahXephon from nowhere for no reason.
Well, this is the thing, because it came from nowhere for no reason, it really didn't seem to look like it made sense to me.
No, it didn't, but I give red lightning a pass, because I almost always give lightning a pass.
I can't give lightning a pass, I'm afraid, Hugh. It looked ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. It was like, hey, the thing was, if it was still in like the stormy, dark area beneath the clouds, fair enough. But no, it's in this nice sunny sky, and it's just
the cloud turns into webbing,
suddenly,
doesn't it?
Yeah, the cloud is web.
Clouds actually like webbing, which is...
The thing is, though, the red lightning is being shot up from what is apparently a cloud, so it's not entirely, from nowhere. But yeah, I completely agree that red lightning was stupid, but I still clarify that it was awesome, but stupid. Yeah, so this shuts RahXephon down. It's not functional. Life support's down. He's rubbish. I mean, it's just a case of, at this point, he just tries to punch shit. He immediately flies up, sings this aria, it seems on autopilot, and gets grabbed. And then immediately, the whole life support's shutting down. Until, of course, Ayato sees Tokyo Jupiter and reaches out for it and thinks, hey, that looks near. That doesn't look like 1,000 miles away or anything. No, I can probably reach that because my arm's several meters. I can totally reach that. And tries reaching out for Tokyo Jupiter, which apparently reaching for a sphere over there requires laser hands.
Yes, he basically gets angry at the Dolan for being in his way, and he starts Iron Manning it, for a better sense of the word.
Yeah, he just keeps shooting lasers at his hands. I mean, that's awesome. I like that power. And it also shows RahXephon. So this thing with great ranged abilities that you've just been punching shit. Yeah, bad Ayato. That's some very bad Ayato right there.
Yeah.
But he just keeps yelling "get through" and firing lasers until the whole thing cracks in half. However, with its final breath, the
skewers him through the shoulder.
Yeah. Oh, this is one thing as well. We then see Ayato holding his own shoulder, implying that in the same way that the Evangelions did, there's some sort of synergy to the feelings of one and the other. I like synergy, because it's the only way you can have real effect from people blowing off the... if someone punches your mech, you can't have your character in pain unless it hurts. Yeah, but not cockpit trauma in this giant open space of fictional cockpit reality.
Oh yeah,
This is an alternate dimension bullshit here. You couldn't give him cockpit trauma.
No, yeah, you couldn't give him sort of shaking. I would also say it's a valuable, important thing. But yeah, a lot of robot shows have this.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think it makes sense to assume it because, like you said, RahXephon's kind of divine seeming.
Yeah. The thing is, though, they're not subtle about that later. Anyway, so the thing I would say here as well is interesting that he's after Tokyo Jupiter. He's motivated by that. You've got Haruka on the phone to him constantly like, Ayato, you have to wake up. You have to go and do something. I don't want you to die. Please, I care about you. And he's just like, no, couldn't give a shit. I want to go back to Tokyo. That's my motivation here.
Well, yeah, because he wants to see his friends and his mother.
I like that. That's my point. While he is adapting, he is in no way happy here, settled, and he certainly would go back the moment he can. When he starts firing the laser, Quan apparently hears this, senses it, psychically knows that the RahXephons suddenly develop lasers. Because, she just wakes up and starts talking bullshit again. And then says, Olin, you are wrong. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure what possible anything she has to say this, but, trying to interpret Quan's mystical bullshit as anything other than mystical bullshit gives me a headache. So I'm not going to bother.
Yeah, well, even the voice actress of Quan said it just seemed line after line of cryptic jargon.
Quan, do you want to go to the cinema on Tuesday? The fates intertwine. The moon will set at dusk, and then several cars will travel to the Horseman. Is that a yes? Is that a no, Quan? Why do you have to answer every question like that?
Yeah, does feel that way. So yes, and then he smashes it in half, and that's the end of the fight.
Yes.
So you wanted to mention things that were cut to during this fight.
While this is going on, we have the reporter meeting Uncle, as I'm going to refer to him, because is it Ritsuko? Ritsu? Yeah. But the Uncle, anyway.
Yeah, Rikudo,
there we go. So, just as I called the Major, I'm going to call him Uncle for the rest of this, so it's all fine. He arrives there and says, hey, can I talk to you? Oh, we also have a pointless scene of the cat playing with the bra.
Yeah, cat briefly plays with the bra for no good reason.
No good reason other than, hey cat, you like bras? This is the thing, there's several other things of just this cat's like, why is this cat suddenly a perv?
Yeah,
because there's lots
There'll
of
be a bit
implications to the rest of the series where the cat's a perv. So this is perv cat point 1. But also, just why is there a bra? Just, the show doesn't, it's not necessary, right? Even the unnecessary tit shot that we had previously of Sayako, yeah, we're seeing Ayato's point of view, you can say that. You can't say that here! It isn't in any way justifiable to have this. So, we have this brief shot of that, and then we go back to the uncle, who start playing Go.
No, they start playing Shogi.
Is it?
Yeah, it's Shogi.
No, they're playing Go.
They're playing Shogi. I will bet you anything it is Shogi. We can pause the podcast so you can go and watch, because it's important to his character. They're playing Shogi.
Okay, they're playing Shogi then. I couldn't see the board. That was one.
I know, because one time they make this move, and I'm like, that's a stupid-looking move. I'm not great at Shogi, but that looks dumb.
Fair enough. This is when the reporter's going back to his, hey, I'm just going to talk, clearly knowing everything already. And this is when he brings up the fact that Ayato Kamina, who lives here, with you, by the way, I've seen it on the door, that
He's seen the name Ayato Kamina on the door.
Yeah, he's like, well, Ayato Kamina, there was one guy, and I've randomly memorized every single child who's ever won a painting competition, because I know that Ayato Kamina won a painting competition 15 years ago.
Yes, but in a particular place. That's the important point. In a place that would eventually become known as Tokyo Jupiter.
Yes, fine. In Tokyo, there was a kid who was called Ayato Kamina who won a painting competition when he was 12, and, I guess he'd be 29 now. I think it's pretty obvious to me at this point, this is the first of a couple of points that is going to be raised that we're going to talk about right at the end, but it might just be because I keep talking about all of these people's ages that we got this, but when they point out here that Ayato's 29, my immediate thought was, like Haruka.
Yeah, like Haruka.
Straight away.
And Itsuki.
And Itsuki. And it's exactly...
And Makoto.
And it's something that that Holly, watching this for the first time, and not having these podcasts where we talk constantly about their ages, picked up at all.
She didn't pick up on it?
That they would be the same age. And again, that's going to bring in stuff later on, but I don't think she did anyway. I haven't asked her, because if you ask her point blank, it's kind of the same as telling her.
Exactly.
So, and I'm trying to not pollute her enjoyment of the show, partially so that I can take her enjoyment of the show and bleed it into this. Now, yet we have him saying, well, he would be that old. And he goes, then clearly it must not be the same person, because that would be too old for the person who lives here. Again, it's like I said earlier, it's basically just the reporter saying, I know things, and then all of the other characters saying, but we still have to deny them, really, just on principle, even though we're all sort of accepting it's common knowledge by this point. After we get back to Alvy getting court-martialed, although she's not really.
No, court-martial is a very specific thing where you have you have a court.
Dressed down.
Yeah, she's been reprimanded.
Reprimanded by Haruka, Jin, and in the corner, Makoto.
Makoto doesn't say anything, he's just there to observe.
He's just there to observe. He's the observer from the Federation, and if he's not watching you, it's basically like Schrodinger's terror. If it's not observed by Makoto, did terror really exist?
Well, I think the implication here, this means why Jin has to give her, despite the fact that even though LV actually helped the RahXephon resolve the situation, she still went against protocol. I'm not sure how. Yeah. And, so she needs to explain herself. I think it's because she
flew into, as they put it, she flew into an unknown substance.
Yeah.
With a cry of, I wrote her cry down as well. It was, won't let a kid do my job, and flew into a cloud. The thing was, they're like, why did you do that? Sir, it was instinct. And my immediate thought to that was, it was wrong! It was a bloody stupid thing to do! After the fact, right, I'm well aware that Captain Hindsight is an irritating superpower for a person to have, but no, Captain Hindsight says, you shouldn't have done that! You shouldn't have flown into that unknown substance and immediately been hit with the Aria, because frankly, if you hadn't have done that, and they'd been a bit more of a cautious thing, like the RahXephon could have said, maybe gone up a bit further out and not got caught in the cloud, or you wouldn't have got caught in the web, it was a real risk, and you're saying, no sir, it was instinct. Okay. Never follow your instinct again! If that's your instinct, someone else should be in charge of our main pilot wing.
Yep. So, well that's why she had to be grounded for 2 days, because she had to be given a proper formal reprimand, because Makoto was watching.
I know, but my argument is, her defense is instinct. I mean, come on. She was wrong.
Oh, but she's a renegade pilot who gets things done, Hugh.
Hey, I may not get things done, but damn it if I don't follow all the protocols.
If I don't follow protocols, what's the difference between him and me? He murders nuns!
It's true, if you don't follow protocol, what is the difference between you and the Moo? The thing is also, I loved the endless hand lasers for Ayato. It was just so useful in that fight.
Well, yeah.
I mean, this is the thing. I was just like, look, if I was Ayato, from now on, every single battle, hand lasers. It's like when you're playing a fighting game and you discover the Hadoken button, where you go, wait, I'm sorry, I can throw a projectile across the screen that's bloody difficult to dodge for anyone who is really new to the game. And that's how you cheat win your first 10 Dolan fights, by standing at the back, firing endless lasers. Yeah, so LV leaves the building, and, well, leaves the room anyway.
Leaves the room, Haruka comes in. They have an interesting conversation that really reveals perhaps why LV did it, and she just says, it's not kind of nice. I can't let a guy we kidnapped fight all our fights.
She said, we kidnapped a child! I mean, yeah, they did. They kidnapped someone legally underage. They have legally kidnapped a child, put him in a fighter machine, and then said, hey, fight our war for us against your previous home, specifically your mother as well. So, yeah. No, I can kind of understand her. If you were a military proud pilot and someone went, yeah, we're going to get a child to do your job, you'd kind of feel a bit bad about it, really. But, Haruka seems to misinterpret her desire to not be shown by a child as a desire to protect the child, and goes, thank you so much for being there for him, because I can't be there with him.
I think she does want to help Ayato.
I know she does, but it's just, it's like, she says, thank you. I know the only reason you ever do anything is to protect my Ayato. Yeah, this is also the moment they're sort of finally properly reconciled.
Yeah.
All the tension from previous stuff has gone, because there was still a bit earlier, but yeah, this scene is now them actually properly being friends again, which is quite good. But this is now, the last few things is when Ayato sees the reporter again on the way back and remarks, do you not do anything with your life?
Yeah.
Like,
And the reporter's like, sorry, it was a nice breeze.
It was a nice breeze, so I wasted the entire day in this seafront. Yeah, we also have a thing of, hey, Ayato, why do you work? What is it, a family thing? Do you do it for that? And he goes, no. It makes me feel connected. But Hayato also asks where Tokyo is. So, yeah, there's this whole making me feel connected. Where is Tokyo? Hayato is still, head is totally in Tokyo at this point. We're getting lots and lots of signs that he's completely still stuck there. Even if he's not physically there, he is mentally and emotionally. As much as he may have changed his watch.
And that's the end of that episode, which I thought was a pretty good episode. Dealt with a lot of things, had some nice scenes in it.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was very good.
A good Monster of the Weekish sort of episode.
Yes, and Holly was saying that she actually is finding the pacing a lot better now. Because she was getting a little overwhelmed at first. She was saying it's the sort of show you seem to have to watch twice, just because the first time when you watch the first, I think it's 4 episodes, everything is so overwhelming. It's just being thrown at you. You know, the whole thing in Tokyo, then him coming out of Tokyo, then him meeting all the new characters in Terror and everything. It's nice to then get to the point now where they're introducing something, you're having a bit of time with it, and then it's resolved. Mm-hmm. You know, the pacing is a lot easier for people at this point, and for this one, the last one, and the next one as well. I mean, it's going to be like this for a few more episodes, where a monster of the week, in order to introduce characters, introduce motivations, and move the plot along a bit.
Yeah, we get more monsters of the week that sort of add to the tension. But yeah, that was good, and I thought it was a good episode. I loved the longboat sequence. We got some good little bits of character stuff, but at the same time, nothing stood out. Nothing made me go, oh my goodness. Just, it was nice to see Elvie and her squadron doing stuff. But again, they need an upgrade to be useful.
So, I have a few notes as well from my conversation with Holly afterwards. This is the notes of someone who has no clue what's going to happen. She's still confused about what the hell is up with Quan and Itsuki. The actual, when she watched back, she watched the scene where you first see them together as a brother and sister, and just immediately turned to me and went, "Are they sleeping together?" I was like, I'm not really going to say anything. So I was like, because they're really f***ed up, and they're totally sleeping together.
They're not f***ed up, and they don't seem to look like they're sleeping together, from what I've seen.
No, fair enough. That's just her opinion.
It doesn't have that feeling. I know the scenes she's talking about. She's talking about scenes that we talked about in the last podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff, but no. If anything, Itsuki's just really sinister. We get more interesting sort of things of who Itsuki probably wants to sleep with, though, next episode we're going to talk about.
She was also talking about how Ayato stands out as a good protagonist, because in robot shows, you tend to get people freaking out or being stupid. Ayato, while he isn't very good in the thing, and I will continually say he's a terrible pilot at this point, he's calm, he's capable, he's not hugely prone to freaking out, he's a bit reluctant to do it, and there isn't really a reason why initially, but he's doing his duty, he's going for it, and he's a reliable protagonist at this point.
I don't know, like we said the previous episode, it was a bit weird that Ayato immediately got into being okay with piloting it, but the one good thing about that is they've stuck with it, so Ayato is now fine with piloting it. Because there are a few shows that come up where, occasionally the guy's sort of like, no, I don't want to pilot it. And those are always just irritating, because the whole point of the show is for you to pilot the robot, stop dicking around, and pilot the robot.
Stop pretending. I'd be really interested.
That's why G Gundam was always so great.
Why?
G Gundam, he's like, I'm piloting the robot. I trained to pilot in my robot. I trained to get into my skin-tight outfit and pilot this robot with martial arts.
Most of the early Gundams were like that, weren't they? It was only like Gundam Seed onwards that they got a bit reluctant about it.
Gundam Seed, and in a way, very early on in the original Gundam, Ayato doesn't want to pilot it. But in Zeta, Camille's real up for piloting it, because Camille's kind of like a Mary Sue of the super robot world. He already knows how to pilot a robot perfectly by the time he's already in one. And another one, Double Zeta Gundam, he wants to because he wants to steal it. So most not wanting to pilot it is not as common as people might make you think, but it doesn't stop it from being any less irritating. So I'm glad RahXephon skips over that.
What I was going to say though is I'd quite like, it'd be nice to have a deconstruction show where they made the guy like pilot the robot. He was in it unexpectedly. You know, you did the absolute generic opening for guy
falling into the cockpit and stuff.
Yeah, all that sort of shit. And then he fights it. And then you could have him going, I don't want to pilot it. Like, gets really hurt in like his third battle. And he's like, I don't want to pilot it anymore. And then was like, you have to pilot it. And then he leaves and doesn't. And it's just that. There's no reason, and then the genre of the whole show changes. Like, oh, I guess we don't have a pilot anymore. I guess we'll have to use non-mechs then, and they just beat things with non-mechs. And you could just change the entire focus of the show to be a different genre entirely. I think it could be rather fun.
Gazaraki's kind of like that.
Really? I think I've got a DVD of Gasaraki because it was free at the expo, but it's like DVD number 7, and I refuse to watch number 7 without having watched all of the previous ones.
And sadly, that's another one that was released by ADV over here, so it might be difficult to get a hold of all of Gazaraki.
That was one thing I would like to find out who owns the rights to RahXephon and how you can watch it, because I realised after the last time we recorded this, we have been talking like, oh, ADV went under, and oh, RahXephon box sets can't be bought legitimately really anymore because it's not really seen, it's not really talked about.
It is owned by somebody.
How can you watch it?
The people who own it in the EU right now, licensed by 101 Films.
Because I was going to say, if people want to watch along with us, we probably should have put up some sort of link of, here is a site that legally allows you to stream it, or here is a place you can legally buy the DVDs. Because I am in favour of supporting the show, but...
Indeed. Sadly, yeah, there's, I'm just looking through it now, see if we can still buy... I see RahXephon, the complete collection. Yep, you can buy the complete box set and the DVD film still from Amazon.co.uk, from 101 Films, 101 Anime. And it's still got the little ADV symbol. So, yep, you can still get RahXephon.
Which is good.
We really should have figured out ahead of time.
We will probably... Okay, you listening may probably already know this, but I say we've probably got a link on every single one of these of how to legitimately own or watch RahXephon. I think for a bit of homework as well, I'll see if there's a legal place that has it to stream somewhere. In case you... Because I do believe in watching stuff before you just buy the DVDs, personally. But I can obviously recommend RahXephon as something that is totally worth buying, as I have. Okay, so that's enough plugging of the show. Let's move on to the next one, shall we?
Well, in between that, can you give me 1 minute and I'll be right back?
It's Ramune time!
Right, so in between episodes, you may recall last podcast I spoke about Ramune and how I would have totally got some bottles to review the taste of it, because it is mentioned an awful lot over the course of the episode that we just talked about, and in RahXephon in general. And the reason why I'm trying to find more stuff to say is I'm trying to peel open the cap, because I am now trying to open my first bottle of regular flavour Ramune, which actually has English explanations for how to open it. Peel off the seal on the green cap and push down on the centre to release the opener. Place the opener on top of the Ramune bottle and press down firmly with your palm. This will open the bottle by dislodging the stopper. Keep pressing for 5 seconds, and then remove the green opener from the bottle and discard.
The fact that you have an instruction manual for a bottle of drink further proves my point that putting pointless marbles in your food and drink is stupid.
Do you know what's also stupid?
Everything about this show.
Leaving Ramune in the freezer to cool up faster.
Was it iced?
Because you think it is actually frozen. I didn't think it would freeze in such a short time. I'll go and get another one. So for my own sins, I shall be reviewing lukewarm Ramune, but who cares? That's funnier.
Put it in the fridge and eat it and drink it at the end.
You sure?
It's up to you. It's your Ramune.
Okay, let's cut this out and let's do it at the end.
No, leave some of this in, because it's funny. If your Ramune review is so good, you convince me to buy more, maybe I will join you in reviewing it next week. But for now, let's just move on to episode 8 of RahXephon.
Indeed, episode 8.
For me, is called The Dreaming Stone.
And for you, The Bitterly Cold Holy Night. And
this is possibly one of the best Christmas episodes of any show, in my opinion, because it barely mentions Christmas.
Indeed.
It doesn't do any bullshit about the whole thing. And it just sort of goes, yeah, Christmas, it's a thing happening in the background. It motivates the plot without dragging the plot down to its level.
The way it's dealt with seems perfectly usual for the Japanese treatment of Christmas.
I know, it's one of the things I really like in anime, is that no one gets incredibly weighted down by Christmas. Usually Christmas is mentioned as a time to hang out with your date.
Yep.
And that's about it, really.
Indeed, because...
oh no, how can I buy them something? It is Christmas, you know. And it's always something, not, hey, how can I find ridiculous amounts of gifts? I have a bit of a thing with Christmas. Sorry, I'll let you say something now rather than me ranting.
Well, no, it's just that, of course, New Year's is more important, and viewers will probably guess that our episode that we'll be checking out next podcast will indeed be the New Year's episode.
We begin with the reporter let into the science lab and being shown around it by Itsuki about the RahXephon, which is still, and I like this, damaged by the giant spike from last episode.
Yeah, it's got a big old hole in its shoulder.
Yeah, but we're told
Which
that
I
this
don't
will
think
be
we really
healed.
explained how. While it was shooting at the Dolem skewered it through its shoulder at the same time.
But so the giant spike is still there. They've taken it out, but it still exists. It's also apparently going to be healed completely, this hole in the RahXephon, by the water.
By the waterfall.
No one mentions whether it's a different sort of water than normal, or whether it's just, we put this under a waterfall, and through the power of ancient martial arts bullshit, it's going to heal. This is also when Itsuki finds a strange crystal on the giant spike, which was from the Dolem, and decides to pocket it. This is perfectly reasonable and normal for a scientist, so we're just going to move on. Yeah, we then have Ayato and Megami on the beach with Kim and Haruka.
Yep.
Ayato is, of course, drawing Mishima because it's his default state of being. And, Megami says, "What in the hell are you always drawing?" Which, frankly, is a very reasonable response to why is Ayato drawing at every conceivable point the same picture every single time. And offers to model as well.
After the camera makes an incredibly leering look up at her.
This 17-year-old girl in a swimsuit. Anyway, so this is also a bit more of a chance for them to go, hey, there might be some sort of sexual thing and flirting between us. Also, when it's first drawn to attention that Ayato has a ridiculously obvious Mayan symbol on his body in a giant way all across his abdomen. Yeah, this is maybe saying, do all Tokyo people get tattoos? It's been a mark he's had from birth. The reveal of something incredibly relevant, which is that Megami has a birthmark in an embarrassing place.
Does she?
Yeah, did you not get that?
Yeah.
It's when he says it's a birthmark, he says, "Oh, why, do you have a birthmark?" She goes, "No, I don't, and you can't see it!" And immediately puts her hand, I think, to her arse as well. Not that I'm really sure. If it is on her arse, how would she know that she has it? I mean, do you look at your own arse that often?
No, I do not. But yep, I see what you mean there. I can. That was what it said, and so I didn't think about. Maybe she does have an embarrassing birthmark.
Clearly, you're not thinking enough and deeply enough about the 17-year-old girl's arse.
No, I'm not.
But we also then have Haruka proving exactly how she became a captain at this age, which is that even now when she's off duty on the beach, she's got her laptop out and she is working. Yeah, although she's still referring as working on the beach apparently is goofing off in her mind.
Yep.
But everyone else is legitimately relaxing here, which is when Itsuki and Saiko arrive and he tells her to stay in the damn car, But he does wind the window down so that she doesn't suffocate. I'm going to make quite a few references to him treating her like a dog, because that is how it is.
Really does awful stuff to her. Especially
He is absolutely terrible. And this episode highlights it far more than any other. But he comes down to invite everyone to a party and have a big standoff with Haruka as well. So there's a little weird interaction between the two of them here. But then, of course, he mentions that the Major might be there, vaguely, and Megami explodes with, "Yeah, I'll totally go, yeah, it'd be fantastic." So, Megami's incredibly obvious crush on the Major is kind of irritating at this point as well. But it's all fine. We then have people saying that if he's Santa, then his reindeer looks like she's about to go postal. And
really, they say that, do they?
Yeah.
I just remembered actually they parked, and it's like awful car animation I have ever seen as they arrive, because it looks like the car just stops and then moves sideways into the parking space.
That's not bad animation. That's future car.
That's future car, you said. That's not car animation. That's
no. They're in the future. They have car technology of sideways car.
Of sideways car. Okay.
Exactly. This car just sort of slides to. This car follows the music. It slides to the left, it slides to the right. One hop this time.
Well, the car windscreen wipers activate whenever its owner gets ticked off.
Yeah, it's also a psychic car.
we'll see this quite a lot, and it'll start appearing all throughout RahXephon of when she gets anxious because of Itsuki, Sayako's windscreen wiper moves.
So yeah, she ends up getting really pissed off at being stuck in traffic, at being driving him around, just generally existing. She seems to be angry at this point, which is then when Itsuki does possibly one of the most ridiculously evil things he's going to do in this entire series, which is, you remember that stone that he pulled off the dangerous monster's spike earlier?
Yeah, he pulled the stone off the dangerous monster's spike, which was foolish anyway. I just realised I didn't raise my voice to agree with you and say, yeah, that's dumb.
No, but the thing was, I was like, look, as a scientist, taking off the part that's different and studying it, fair enough. But he just give it a yank with his bare hands. I'd have got some gloves and a sample bag, possibly. You know, it's like a cop turning up to a murder scene and just going, oh, I guess I'll look in the victim's wallet, grabbing it, taking it home, and having a browse over dinner.
No, even better. It's like, I'll just look at the victim's wallet while, I've got to drop one out. They're not using their lavatory, are they?
No, they were drowned in the bathtub, but it's fine. You guys just look away for a bit, yeah?
Just look away for a bit, for a second. Ugh.
Yeah, no, it was inappropriate. But even more inappropriately, he attaches this crystal to a pendant necklace and gives it to her.
Yeah,
as a Christmas present, which she is incredibly happy with, really, because, yeah, her obvious crush is as equally obvious as Megami's is for the Major. Seems very, very happy with the beautiful, beautiful, unique stone that must have cost him a fortune. This is the thing. Not only is he giving her what is probably an incredibly dangerous object, right? At this point, we don't know whether he knows it's a dangerous object or whether he just thinks that's pretty, I'll give it to someone. But also, he takes credit for buying her a ridiculously expensive gift. He's like, well, you do put so much overtime in, you know? I do feel I owe you by getting the first thing I pick up off the ground that looks vaguely nice.
Yeah.
So even if the episode stuff with the stone ended here, which it won't, obviously it won't, but if it did, if it just ended here, he's still a colossal prick for this action.
He is still a colossal prick, yes.
Yes, which is pretty much his motto. Hi, my name is Dr. Anitsky, and I'm a colossal prick. We then have Snow appears. This is also...
The moment she puts on the...
Yeah, exactly. So, again, slightly sinister. But no, I was going to say, it's probably more of a contrast for those of us watching than those of us listening to this, because people sunbathing earlier, suddenly there is snow. Yeah, it's remarked upon that Megami has never seen snow because she's never once left the island, or... Poor Megami, how pathetic is her life. The thing is, though, I was like, it's fairly easy to work out why Megami's never left the island. It's because her sister looks after her, and her sister just works all the time. You also then cut to Quan, who hates snow and has thought of a small haiku that no one will understand other than her about how the snow is evil. But yeah, apparently it's the first ever reported snow. They really lay it on thick that this snow is unusual, don't they?
Well, they're in a tropical friggin' island, so yeah.
Yeah, I know it is unusual, but God, there's like 4 different sets of characters who talk about how ridiculously weird this snow is. Yeah, after we've established beyond a shadow of a doubt, and so nobody could possibly imagine otherwise, that the snow is a bit weird, we have Makoto and the reporter having a nice little talk in a bar about how Christmas is just a scam.
Yeah, Futagami comes up and Makoto says, the usual stuff about that was originally a solstice festival, and then Christianity co-opted it. But then he says an interesting thing there where Futagami says, you're not a believer, and he says, belief and practice are 2 different things.
Yeah, it's religion and religious activities are 2 different things in the English dub here. And I really liked that line. I thought it was very interesting because it's him implying that he does have faith, that he does believe in something. He just doesn't celebrate Christmas. He doesn't have any, religious activity.
Since he's not doing anything, we assume the implication is, he lacks religious activity, but he does have faith in something.
Not just that he's not doing anything, but he's openly critical about Christmas and about sort of religious celebrations. So it's more... You get the feeling he's one of those sort of hardcore religious people who say, oh, I don't celebrate Christmas in the commercial way. But the ones who just sit at home and have a small piece of bread and a bit of water on the day and meditate and fast and things. You get that sort of feeling from him, that while he does seem to have strong beliefs, and that's the implication. But we also have Haruka running through the snow. Ayato is incredibly critical of why does she keep running? Oh, it's of course to build up her endurance so that she can work more. However, whatever point Ayato makes, and he does have a serious point here, and it is quite a good point. You can't really justify believing him or thinking that he's got any sense whatsoever, because he's in the ugliest dressing gown known to man.
Yes, he's in the ugliest dressing gown known to man again.
Again. Yeah.
Well, not again, but we see it again after having seen it on its something similar on Itsuki, and now we got another ugliest dressing gown in the world.
We're getting, actually, we have started a regular gimmick now, it seems, of the ugliest blank in the world. So we've had Ayato wearing the ugliest outfit in the world before finding the ugliest cat in the world, and now wearing the ugliest dressing gown in the world. For a painter, Ayato has some terrible f***ing taste.
He does, he has awful taste.
On the comment that it's cold, Haruka has a quick thought and realises that she wants to give him a present, and it is some gloves. Some yellow gloves with a flower on them as well. So they're not exactly the manliest of all gloves, but, you know, it's a very thoughtful gift. This is the episode that we're going to talk about this at the end, that Haruka is into Ayato, is just, it's not even, like, hinted at now, it's just statement fact.
Mm-hmm.
So until now, we've had her making some comments that she likes him. No, this is just outright when the series writers just said, look, she loves him, deal with it.
Yeah.
That's it. So, yeah, this is a present she's got for him and is very happy about. But,
well, speaking of and deal with it, we then get another scene that I wish I didn't have to deal with, which is Megumi randomly reacting to what was the name of the cat? Is it Buddha?
Bucci.
Bucci, yeah.
Bucci is the cat.
Yeah. So you got Megumi and Bucci and sort of going, whoa, what's going on? Oh, you better take responsibility, and making all these very specific sounds, and then Bucci sort of climbs out from under the covers, and then it zooms up to show Megumi slightly blushing, and I'm like, the cat?
This is the second time that we have sex cat. This is the...
He's not...
This is
okay,
the thing.
playing with the underwear was not sex cat.
Well, I'm sorry, but it was the cat playing with underwear. I'm going to say pervert cat at least. But no, this is the thing of, right, it wouldn't actually be so bad if it was just, like, if you want to have the implication scene of, oh, someone's with her in bed, oh, it turns out it's the cat, ha 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 ha. You can do that, where she just has you can make her make the noises.
Even that's creepy because she's 17.
No, I'm saying it's creepy, but I'm still saying if you want to do it, you can make her make the noises, you can make her say things like, oh, don't go down there, or what are you touching? That's fine. Yeah. They're legitimate, misconstrued comments. You better take responsibility is not a misconstruable comment.
Yeah.
It is a f***ing ridiculous thing to say to a cat!
It is very ridiculous.
In what way can a cat take responsibility for going down there, as she puts it?
Yeah, which is really weird because, you know, it's not like a cat fumbling around or doing something couldn't happen, but that could be presented in a completely less creepy way. And they just went, no, let's go full creepy. Cat's totally not taking responsibility as well.
The thing is, you can still laugh at it as an amusing scene.
Nah, dude, too creepy for me.
So, yeah. At which point, Haruka then goes to work to find that there's an emergency meeting because apparently they've got the ability to detect that the molecular structure of the dolem hasn't collapsed, which, to me, would be a great explanation to why there isn't any f***ing debris. Again, you may think that I'm getting stuck on this point, but if the molecular structure collapsed once the dolem died, fine, no debris, perfectly legit, I have no issue with it. But why can you ship mountains of debris away if the molecular structure collapses within a day or two of the... within a day or two.
Yeah, that's what...
Yeah, I'm slurring my words a little because I need a drink. But, yeah, if the molecular structure collapses, why are they shipping massive amounts of it away? But, anyway, so the point is that the dolem isn't dead, so...
Gotta find it, gotta kill it.
Gotta find it, gotta kill it, yeah. And which is when Watari is told by Jin, are you not going to go and see him? In a subtle implication, you better go and do this, sort of something's up kind of way. That I think we pick up on far more because of knowledge than... You'd probably just think of that as a throwaway line, but I've got it underlined here. But after which we have Kim and Megumi shopping. This is another scene of Kim and Megumi being friends, which is still weird to me.
Is it?
Because, I don't really know about that. It's not so much weird as it's just... I don't really think that they'd be that close, to be honest.
Why not? Think back to when Haruka said, my kid sister's coming here,
Could
be
you
nice
look
to her.
after her?
Yeah.
But this
still,
is the thing.
I think
I
Kim
looked
does
back
like...
to that. That scene, basically, it kind of went, hey, you know this friendship? Based on a favour to Haruka, sort of thing. It felt like it was... That scene, to me, felt like it was sort of lowering the value of their friendship, because it was a thing that she's kind of just doing as a favour to Haruka.
Well,
really.
not all the time. Maybe she started it that way, but
No, yeah,
they've clearly
certainly.
known each other for a while now.
Not that long, surely.
Yeah, no, long enough.
This is also when Megami. Well, it's she's just bitching about her sister really and how jealous she is.
It's the usual thing because Haruka's an adult and so can do things, whereas Megumi is still restricted in what she can do. So she's jealous of Haruka's supposed freedom. And Kim kind of knows better and sort of trying to say, maybe it's not quite so bad, but gets cut off by Megumi seeing the Major.
Yes, running out and giving him a gift in a really obvious manner. Do you not think the Major looks awesome in this outfit?
Well, no, this is what I was going to say. We've already
outfit.
mentioned how people are dressed. What the heck is the Major wearing? Because he's sort of
it's
wearing
like a beret and cape, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got like a cloak on to keep himself warm.
And
it's
sorry.
like a dress cloak as well, isn't it? It's like goes with his military uniform.
I can't make fun of it. He looks awesome.
You can't make fun of it. I can make fun of it because
make fun of it all you want, but I liked it. Look, I don't mind ridiculous outfits if they look cool. I mean, it's the old argument of why is he wearing a
Aren't
cape?
those two conflicting adjectives there? I don't mind when it looks ridiculous, as long as it looks cool. Cool-diculous.
You can be ridiculous, but also kind of awesome. I think that's the thing.
The way he carries it off as if it's completely normal, that's kind of awesome. But,
I really like the Major. I think the Major's a great character, and I do think he can pull it off. I do think on anyone else that outfit would be utterly ridiculous, but the Major carries it well.
Well, this is the thing. Is this is a uniform? So does this mean that Haruka and Makoto and everyone else in Terra and in the United Self-Defense Force, do they all have these ponchos for when it's hot? It's just, thank goodness we work in a tropical environment. Don't have to wear this poncho.
Don't have to wear this stupid thing.
And notice how everyone is
winter
still
all the
wearing
time.
like these mini skirts, even though it's cold.
Yeah, but Ayato has the explanation to that. Why would you own winter clothes if you live there?
Exactly, no, that is the reason. But clearly the Major does. But I think they all say, oh, well, of course we don't own our winter clothes. I mean, look how warm it is all throughout the year. It's quite clearly because, no, the winter uniform sucks. It's awful.
It's terrible.
Only the
for
Major
everyone
can
but
wear
the Major. Exactly.
I mean, can you imagine any of the other characters wearing that? It would look like...
No. Well, I can, and it's
I'm
hilarious.
wearing my special military poncho.
I would have loved it if when they had that emergency meeting they were all wearing that outfit and only the Major was wandering around in confidence. Everyone else was just like, mustn't let people see me. Mustn't let people see me. Now this entire scene though is, I think Megami just it's reinforcing the fact that she is quite naive and she's still quite young.
She doesn't understand.
Really.
Well, I said it's framed. I said when I was watching it, it was framed like a friggin' girls' comic because you've got the girl giving the present to the dude, and behind her, where she can't see but we can totally see as the viewer, her concerned friend going, "No, she doesn't understand the truth."
The truth that he will never love her. Oh no.
I mean, it really did seem like straight out of a girls' comic.
The thing also, right, Kim, just before the Major is spotted, Kim says, about Ayato, ... What about Ayato? Because I was trying to think about this, because there's another bit later where she does that, and I totally get what she was going to say there, but what about Ayato? What about him at all? Kim doesn't know anything about him. We've not seen Kim hanging out with him without Megami at any point, or revealing anything to Kim about Megami. None of this like, oh, Ayato's secretly in love with you, or oh, Ayato secretly isn't, or oh, Ayato's got you this big present, or anything at all f***ing relevant here. I have literally no idea what she was about to say then about Ayato.
I get the feeling she's trying to steer Megumi towards Ayato rather than the Major.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, that you would probably push her towards someone that Kim might think's a more legitimate target, but by this point, I think Haruka has pretty much, I've licked it, so it's mine. Principle at this point, really. Oh, the gift. The gift we completely didn't mention. The gift is a tie.
Yeah, the gift is a tie. It's an alright tie.
It's a little silly for my taste, but it's alright.
Mm-hmm.
It's a burgundy tie with like gold edging, so it's a Code Geass tie.
So it's a tie that totally goes with his ridiculous military poncho.
It is the sort of it's basically she's walked into a tie shop and gone, I know the Major, and the tie man has gone, I know him! There's an entire section of our shop that only he could pull off! You must buy something from it!
Completely agree, sorry. Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. We also have Kim, then... This is the other thing, right? Kim is listening to Megami bitch, and Megami's bitching basically goes, my sister, I'm so jealous because she was so tall when she was my age, and then she says, my sister, I really don't like her. It's not like I hate her, but it's almost like I hate her. I mean, I really do kinda hate her. And She's not like everyone thinks she's professional and really got it together, but she's so immature and she's such a lazy slob, and I really hate her. And I didn't really hate her, but I do kind of hate her. Oh, by the way, I'm still totally jealous, and I really want to be like her in every way. And then Kim goes, "Don't worry, you are like her." I'm so glad that I'm a rational teenage girl. Come on! The amount of contradictions in her speech in just 2 minutes was ridiculous. Yeah, I hate her because I want to be her. And you go, oh, you don't see the fundamental hypocrisy in your statement. Fair enough, we'll move on from your teenage angst now. This is the thing. As much as the main character's 17, at least he doesn't angst the f***ing show to death. Whereas Megami does seem to have got all the angst here. Not just Megami, actually. The Tokyo characters as well had a fair bit.
Anyway.
So we're changing scene again. Changing scene to a nice meeting between Jin, Itsuki, Haruka, Sayoko, and... Makoto, thank you, it's an M. I can't read my own writing. Which is basically they're discussing the whole "it's not dead" problem. Now, immediately Itsuki goes, "Oh, how fascinating! It's not dead. That's good." And Haruka's like, "You're not going to research it. We're going to f***ing kill it. What is wrong with you?" And I agree. What is wrong with him? Yeah, the meeting basically is just them all saying, "Okay, let's kill it now." Until we cut to Haruka and Sayoko having a nice conversation by the vending machines. Have you noticed how many vending machines Terra has? Terra is basically, as far as I can tell, a big room with the teleport device and all the operational desks in it. Everyone's internal office over there, the science department, and other than that, it's just corridors full of vending machines and seats everywhere.
Vending machines with English on it like, "Enjoy your refreshing time"?
Yes. Yes, those vending machines. They have a nice chat where Sayoko... this is when Holly said, "Why does every female character in this show hate Haruka?" Because this is when Sayoko is just like...
Kim doesn't hate Haruka.
That was my response! I was like, Kim likes her? Probably not as much as she likes me. This is the thing. I was thinking, is Kim friends with her? Because it's never really made clear. Apart from that flashback, I don't think they've spoken this entire show.
They're a bit too distant in terms of age. They're like 10 years apart.
7, but yeah. Oh no, yeah, you're right. They are 10 years apart. No, I was thinking of the major. No, yeah, you're right. 10 years apart. So it's kind of legit. But no, she's the only one that seems indifferent towards Haruka rather than outright dislike.
If I wanted to be really cruel to the writers, I would say it's the crutch of just having women always being jealous of each other in your TV show, which isn't appropriate and untrue. There are good reasons. I would actually say it's only those two that don't like Haruka, and there are good reasons for both of them.
No, I said that. That was my defence as well. I said, if you watch to the end of the show, I'd be able to have this conversation with you where I can say, there's a damn legitimate reason why Sayoko especially, doesn't like Haruka for a legitimate reason. So, yeah.
Which actually, I think we haven't said, all throughout this episode, Itsuki has been randomly saying, I don't think too skeevy stuff, but slightly
He's been trying to flirt with her, I would say.
Yeah, you've been trying to flirt with her.
Haruka.
And Haruka has been just sort of going,
down.
With more awesome facial animations of, what the f*** are you doing, man?
One thing we should point out is that her example that she gives for the reason why her sister isn't perfect is that her sister had a crush on a boy many, many years ago and bought him a present and never got to give it to him, and as such locked that present away and won't let anybody touch it, and she sees this as a sign of how Haruka is kind of pathetic, which actually immediately elicited a response of from both me and Holly of, you're kind of a Megami.
Yeah, that's not very nice, Megami.
This thing of, oh, she was in love with this boy, and then she never saw him again and couldn't give him this present, so she's held on to it all these years as a memento. What the f***'s wrong with you that you're criticising that?
Yeah, that's
seriously.
Very mean.
It is. It's just mean. So, no, as much as we say not everyone hates Haruka and some people have legitimate reasons in their own minds why they don't like her, it's not irrational. They still don't like her in a way that kind of annoys me, really. Because I think it's partially just because I do like her. I think she's a good character. I think that there's a lot going for her, and I like the fact that the series seems to like her as well.
But anyway, we've fallen backwards.
We've fallen backwards. So we're
back
still
to
with
the vending machine.
Yeah, so at the vending machines, she says, oh, it's all easy for you, isn't it? Indicating Haruka. This is when Haruka, like we said, at this point Haruka has basically given up on hiding her Shotacon complex and says, oh, it's easy when you're interested in someone at work. I mean, come on. That's just outright, yeah, I fancy someone at work.
Yes, she's saying I fancy someone at work. No one thinks of that because no one else is such a massive Shotokan like Haruka Shito is.
No, immediately, Sayako thinks immediately it's
Itsuki.
probably the guy I like, and it gets a bit threatened and is like, is this for a long time? Is it a secret? It just tries to get basically her to admit whether it's Itsuki or not. At which point Haruka goes, "Hey, change of subject. That's a very beautiful pendant you've got there, and not at all sinister as." But yeah, the moment Haruka looks at it, Sayako covers it up and turns away because it's hers.
Yes,
it's her precious thing given to her by her love, and this woman who is clearly trying to steal her love from her cannot be allowed near it, for the bitch would take it too. I think is sort of the mental thought process that she's got going on here. We also then have another topless Ayato scene where Watari and Itsuki are now monitoring him, talking about there is no Kwon, because Kwon is of course sitting wrapped up in her duvet, bitching about the cold in more completely pointless, mysterious, enigmatic crap. But the other thing, I think, is Watari has a lot more concern for Ayato than Itsuki does here. It's like, is he cold? And Itsuki's just like, I'm not him, so I wouldn't know. Sick burn!
Yeah. Which again, it just seems kind of callous of Itsuki from this point of view, but of course, that's again. We need like some sort of symbol to be able to say, watch this scene again when you know a bit more.
So yeah, Watari also, I think it's nice here. He's showing concern for the people who work for him, and he's very much the sort of boss you want, the boss that treats you as a person, that cares about you, and that actually does seem to give a. But we then have Haruka being called away to go to yet another meeting. I think the Tannoy only exists to call Haruka. I don't remember it ever once saying anyone else's name. I think it's literally a button on someone's desk that just says, you just push it and it goes, Haruka Shito, please come to wherever the hell this button was pressed. And of course, the moment she goes away is when the crystal starts to grow. This is also when we have... See, I think this is an interesting one, because you may disagree with me here, because we've disagreed on this point before, but we zoom out and we can see the sort of ghostly remnants of a moo above her. Now, to me, this is showing how humans can be hosts to moo. This is sort of the first one of... before, when we had the people piloting the Dolums, we just had a picture of the Moolians in the operations room of the Moo Command Center. Whereas here we're having one above a woman, and clearly the woman is becoming host to this Moolian. And I'd say...
I know she becomes like the core of the Dolum. To me, this just shows that because it looks exactly like... It looks very similar to the other instrumentalists for the Dolums we'd seen before. We immediately know, oh, this is some sort of Moolian Dolum thing. I don't know about becoming possessed, because the idea is she's kind of already got the possessed thing on her. This is the same as like being possessed by any other object. So yeah, I don't agree with this whole thing of humans being possessed by Moo, because I think that flies in the face of the whole Moo phase thing.
See, I was going to say here, obviously we don't know, but at this point you'd probably assume that she doesn't have the Moo phase, because there's been no evidence that she would. As far as we know, she's just ordinary assistant to the Doctor. But yeah, I did expect to disagree with you on this point, and we have. So we can get into it more, I think, as this sort of stuff will crop up again of whether
it's
the
just
Moo
an interpretation of what it means,
around.
but in the end, the results are all the same, so it doesn't make much of a difference. But to me, that just was them saying, this is quite clearly part of the Dolum's still here, look, there's the pilot. And you're like, oh.
See, I thought that the whole... them saying that the Dolum's still around thing kind of did that enough, and you wouldn't have needed this. But no, I think it's fair enough. We can move
still
on
around in that it's that crystal.
We then have Itsuki walking down the corridor, which is about the moment when Itsuki goes from utter prick to complete.
Harsh.
Well, I was actually just about to use that, but I know a lot of people will get
up
in arms about it, so I'm going to stick to more commonly used swear words. No, I do think this is when Itsuki jumps from utterly evil, really, from his previous position of just a bit of a prick. Because he walks down a corridor, he sees snow inside and goes, that's something worth investigating, runs up to Saigo, and he says, it was the stone, I knew it.
Yeah, he sort of like, so he was deliberately screwing with her to see what would happen. He was like, this stone looks like...
It's probably a moo.
It's probably some sort of Moolian artifact. You know what? reminds me an awful lot about that ring in that book. I'll give it to the person who will immediately accept everything I give to them.
And wear it consistently. Yeah. Because if I gave it to someone who just put it away and wore it on nice occasions, I wouldn't get to observe the result.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the most horrible thing he's done. He has clearly just won her life. This will probably kill her.
Yep, probably kill her. Oh well.
This will probably kill her. I'll do it anyway for the lols. It's basically just for a bit of research, but I mean, at this point, if he'd just taken that crystal and said, "Oh, I think this crystal might be, the sort of core of a dolem. Shall we smash it?" That's the sort of sensible pragmatist view. But no, he gives it to someone devoted to him, full in the knowledge that it'll probably kill her. You then have a nice little monologue from Sayako, talking about how her father and her older brother have abandoned her. We do get a bit of a thrown-in bit about how she clearly has a tragic past, probably involving her father and her older brother. This is also the moment she chooses to ice up completely. The stone grows in size until it's a giant snowflake stone, smashes the window behind her, and she then falls out the window.
She falls out the window, starts freezing the ground and moving around, and big chunks of ice
walking around on
shooting up.
I'm not sure whether you call it a lake or just whether it's part of the sea, but
either way,
pretty intense. Just the huge body of water freezes, and as she walks, the whole thing crystallizes. It also seems to show that the whole of the Terra base seems to be powered by waves or something similar.
Makes sense because it has to go into emergency power.
The power completely dies the minute she freezes the lake, and that's the only explanation I could think for that. Frankly, if you're going to build a city over a series of islands as a floating city, turbines powered by the wave movements powering the whole thing is the best idea ever, particularly in the tropical climate where it will never freeze. So you can't really call out the
What about all your precious science now, you wave bastards?
You can't call out the people who designed the wave-based power source on this, because who could possibly have... It's like going to, like the Sahara Desert and saying, but do you have precautions in place for a blizzard? No. Surprisingly, we don't have thermal blankets in here.
Where's your guard now? All of the desert's covered in ice.
Yeah, Sayako wanders off, gets surrounded by ice, floats up,
and becomes the dolem sforzandio, which is a musical term to mean with sudden or marked emphasis.
Yeah, and since we're now talking about the dolems rather than just stating that they exist, this one I actually quite like the look of this one. Although, if you actually look at it, it's the Leonardo DiCaprio dolem, because it's the one leaning out with its arms askew. It's from top of the world!
951 feet long.
Yes, it's made entirely of crystal ice, essentially. And while it has a face at the top and the little wing things that are like arms, the rest of its body really is just a massive glacier. So, it's rather cool looking, I do think. And I do have a soft spot for ice-based beings. Now, this is when Ayato proves that his IQ occasionally is reasonable and occasionally is in single digits. Because all of the people in operations, in the emergency power, so they're in red lighting, in the operations room, looking out the window and someone goes, "It's a D1 signature. We've detected that there's a dolem out there." And there's a dolem that they can also clearly see out the windows, these massive glaciers becoming a dolem. And then Jin says, "You better go out there." And you better go out there. And he says, and Ayato just turns and goes, "Against what? What? You don't get that you want to go and fight the dolem." I mean, come on, Ayato. It's just ridiculous. It's really just there as well so that Jin can say, "Of course, that's why we keep you, isn't it?"
Yep, so to piss off Ayato.
But frankly, Ayato can be pissed off at this point, because what the is wrong with him? You have one job in this place, Ayato. Pilot RahXephon to smash dolems. There is a dolem here. What the fuck did you think he was telling you to go and do?
Yeah.
So he's using the perfectly planted teleport device in the room and goes out in the RahXephon. However, on turning up and being shot with ice beams a few times, he notices that Sayako is in the core stone of the dolem itself. At which point he says, I don't want to destroy this dolem because, she's in it and I know her. And she's actually pretty topless in this scene, so it's kind of weird for me as a 17-year-old boy to ever destroy naked ladies. I just can't bring myself to do it. It's just not in our nature.
And Jin does the usual thing of, we're only here to destroy the dolems. Human life is inconsequential.
I'm sorry, I'm on Jin's side here. Jin says, one life does not matter, destroy the dolem. Now, can I point out, there was two Dolums ago that killed 6 million people and destroyed 8 cities.
Yep.
And there is one person in that. If that Dolum in any way manages to leave the area that the RahXephon is fighting it, people will die. Lots of people. For a start, you're in perpetual winter in the middle. Have you not seen Frozen? Being in perpetual winter in a tropical climate is not good for people that haven't expected it. Particularly when it's probably taken out the whole power to your bloody city. It's just completely ridiculous to say, no, I can't destroy this Dolum, this horrible killing machine that could destroy thousands. It's a silly response. Yeah, unfortunately, Ayato is one of those people who is a protagonist who is he's the Superman. I'm incapable of fighting and killing people. I'm also quite glad at this point Ayato hasn't worked out that the Dolums are being piloted by people and he might actually be doing something to them when he's killing them. Because he might actually then go, wait, what? I've been killing people? Because, yeah, you've been killing people.
Well, whatever. Yeah, he has the usual thing of, grr, I ain't going to kill somebody. And Jin says, well, we're not here to perform miracles. Ayato says, screw that, I'll totally perform miracles.
Because this is when Haruka's contribution to the operations department is to say Ayato's name 3 times for no reason. Again, that's what we needed a counter on, the pointless naming of the main character by Haruka Sho. So we also have Watari showing concern to Itsuki of, will he be okay? And this one says, well, of course he'll be okay. He's the chosen one.
Yeah,
we're not even being subtle anymore.
Just sucks all the tension out of that with is he going to win, Itsuki? Yep. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
It just seemed like Itsuki is the 4th wall breaker of this show because, him taking the piss out of the genre earlier, and this he basically just turns to the camera and says, "No, he's going to win. He's the protagonist. You haven't got the gross gist of this, then, have you? If there's any tension at all at this point."
Yep.
Yeah, this is when the RahXephon does manage to perform a miracle because it puts out a energy sword full of heat. And essentially just melts the shit out of the Dolum. Sayako is freed. We have a little brief scene of her in her weird ethereal thoughts that we have for anyone who's having any thoughts about Dolum, where she's crying blood tears and sees her father and older brother holding out their arms to her. This is also when we cut back to Kwon, who is apparently standing around in her underwear.
Yeah, this is a bit weird.
Yeah, this is when Holly said, why does she spend all day lounging around home in her underwear, particularly when she's been bitching about the cold for the last half an hour?
Exactly. That's it's just, ugh.
Yeah. So for 2 in-series days, it has been freezing cold here. Kwon has been locked up in her duvet, bitching about the cold. And, of course, in nothing but her underwear. This is pointlessly gratuitous and completely against...
Yeah, she walks out just so that the camera can ogle her in her underwear. And it's the same pink lingerie we saw last time. Come on, Kwon, get some variation at least.
I know. I mean, if we're going to have to be put through this, at least let us rate them in accordance of which one's better.
Yep.
When Sayako falls out and RahXephon grabs it, I want to point out what ridiculous tech they have, because the people in the operations department, so at this point...
can sense her life things. They straight up say, and we also know Sayako's okay.
There's a huge cloud of smoke when the RahXephon has basically steamed the Dolum to death, at which point they say, oh, yeah, I've detected the RahXephon's life signs, Ayato's fine. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. He's wearing a life module. And then they say, also detected that Sayako's alive. They have this
yay.
Star Trek bullshit sensor array.
Yeah,
you
life signs. That was very Star Trek. And
I know.
It doesn't happen that much more often, does it?
Well, no, but it's the thing is, right, the technology level they have, I get really pissed off in certain shows, and it's a big problem with sci-fi, that they just get this whole thing of being able to sense things.
Yeah, sense life energy, like it's a wuxia film.
Exactly. I don't mind people doing a thermal scan and counting. That's fine to me. I don't mind people doing an actual visual check of any sort. But just this thing of, I've scanned for life signs, and there's her over there. And it's never really brought up that they don't have anything else like this sort of level of ridiculous tech. And it's just a throwaway line here that just annoyed me, really. Then we're at the party, where Sayako has no memory and is she's so sad she lost the pendant, the beautiful pendant that he gave her, and it must have cost so much money.
Yeah.
At which point, instead of being any sort of reasonable human being, he then, and I'd like to point this out, palm to forehead, forces her head up to look at him. Not even like a slight raise the chin finger. That's
no, he just sort of like grabs her head and is like, look at me.
Just grabs her head and is like, look at me. He's so dominating over her. I mean, it really is just treating her completely like an animal at this point. It's just awful. The way he treats her is absolutely abhorrent, and it just further adds to the whole him being a dick thing. As well as the thing of, he goes, oh, don't worry, it'll be fine, about the whole, you've lost the pendant that I obviously... He just lets her continue thinking that it was a ridiculously expensive gift and not essentially death bubble wrapped.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Which it was.
This is the other one, when we cut to the Major and Kim, who are having a nice meal in the corner, and she says, about us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all that stuff we were hinting at, really, really blatantly hinting at in the previous episode, is, yeah, totally, they're just screwing.
Yeah. Well, come on, they're in a relationship, there's a bit more than that.
Alright, no, you don't know anything at this point apart from about us, because it's clearly not common knowledge, because Kim's only shown friend so far, Megami, appears to think she's got a shot with the Major. Yeah. So it's either a hidden thing or it's just casual. But it's also, Kim seems to be slightly reluctant when she's about us, and I got the feeling this was because she feels guilty about the Megami crush thing, I'd say. Because she says this after she noticed the Megami's gift of a tie is what's being worn at the moment.
Yeah, which Megami comes in and notices Megami looking like she's out of Little Women.
I know.
What's with her dress in this?
Why is so many of these people in stupid outfits?
Sometimes it does seem very weird. Megami comes in and she does look a bit Little House on the Prairie. Not a lot, but that headband's so different and the dress is just so frumpy. I guess it's because we're too used to seeing her looking, in a uniform.
Casual.
Or in the casual sort of clothes for someone who lives on like a really hot tropical island. So
yeah.
I guess that's why it looks so odd, but it really seemed unusual.
When she comes in largely to just see that the gloves given to Ayato by Haruka, he's wearing.
It's saying, these gloves were really nice and obvious.
And this is when Megami points out that the gloves... Do you remember the referencing of the present that was pointlessly referenced earlier?
Yep.
Oh, the present that Haruka kept for that boy she was in love with when she was young. Now this is when, to me, the clicks come together of, hey, so if Ayato wasn't in Tokyo Jupiter, he'd be the same age as Haruka.
Exactly.
Right? Which is the last episode revealed by the reporter. And Haruka, you seem to be overly attached to this boy you didn't really seem to have a prior relationship to. Yeah. So Haruka, you seem to go specifically into Tokyo Jupiter to extract someone. Hey Haruka, you've been holding a present for someone who mysteriously you couldn't give them a gift a while ago, which you've then given to Ayato. For me, this is when all the blocks come together, everything falls down, and I don't think it's actually a huge spoiler, and I don't think it's particularly hidden at this point either, that Haruka is in love with Ayato because she was when she went to school with him or knew him when they were both pre-Tokyo Jupiter. So, there you go. It's something you can infer from those comments, and as much as I think Holly didn't, she inferred from the comment by Megami that Haruka has given away the gloves. She didn't put it together that it was originally for Ayato. She basically said, oh, so it's showing that Haruka has moved on, that she's put all her future hopes on Ayato, and that she's, moving
ignoring
on
this
to him.
This other dude that they've brought up for some reason, whoever he is.
I know.
So, we would be signing off, but first...
Let
me go back.
We get your slightly delayed trying of the strange marble drink. So,
I have Ramune here, and I am going to try the original flavour, which is just called original flavour. It also has the instructions, it's nice, it has the instructions on the actual label as well. But the original Ramune is a clear liquid with the same kind of unusual cap.
It's not the blue one then?
Yeah, it's blue.
Okay, sorry, you said clear liquid. So
yeah, the liquid inside is clear, yeah.
Oh, so it's the bottle that's blue?
Yeah, the bottle's blue.
Well, while you're trying to work that out, there was one final point I wanted to talk about the episode, which is something that Holly raised, which was she thought that there seemed to be sort of beginning implications of a sort of willpower-based thing. Ayato seems to solve quite a lot of his problems through willpower. Virtually all the time, the Valspon's getting beaten, and he just goes, do you know what? I want it more! And then, he just wins. Whereas Sayako is weak-willed, and I think Itsuki gives the stone to Sayako because she's someone nearby, he can easily monitor, and he thinks of her as less than a person. She said that she felt that he probably picked her because she's quite weak-willed and therefore easier to control. And she's sort of got this sort of idea that there's a theme throughout of people with strong willpower succeeding and people with weak willpower being crushed by the Moo.
That's interesting. I haven't thought about it that way.
No, I haven't either. And thinking about it later on, there's one character that I think is going to kind of turn that on its head a bit, but for the most part, I think that's actually quite interesting and certainly quite relevant. But until we get to that character, I just thought it was worth raising now because I'd like to bring it up again on an episode that's very probably the most intense one of the series in my view, and certainly I think one of the best written. But when it gets to it, we can go through that in full.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, have you managed to navigate the difficulties of opening a bottle of ridiculous marble drink?
Yep, I've worked out how to open it, and the marble sits there, and it gets quite there's a sudden output of air, and now I've got the actual drink. So I'm actually going to try and drink it the wrong way. I'm going to try and drink it without catching the marble this time.
Oh, you're going to do an Ayato. Drum roll, please.
Right. So you get a little bit of it, but then it does stop. Which is good, because now that I look at it all, and I consider how it's opened, I can't close this bottle of Ramune now. There's no, cap that you can close it up with. I think what you could do, you could get the stopper that you use, and just fit it over the top, but it's really loose.
I had to pause. So, you know the scene where they're talking, and Ayata's explaining to the reporter about the Ramune. I had to pause it there to talk to Holly about what the they were drinking. She's like, "What is it with this marble?" And I was like, "Well, it's a marble that blocks the drink if it's standing up, and blocks you from drinking it if you pour it." And she was like, "Is that to stop it leaking?" I was like, "No, because if you knock it over, the marble wouldn't block the thing, and it'd still pour out."
Yep, it would still pour out.
So no, I said it's not anything to stop anything. It's just there to be deliberately inconvenient.
Yeah, and now I'm just going to try a bit while blocking it with the marble.
I'm not going to do another drum roll.
Well, it comes out pretty well, yeah. And it's kind of nice flavour. I don't know how to place it, actually. Normal Ramune flavour. It tastes...
Does it taste like ramen?
No. Ramune... I guess I'd call it almost like a bubblegum flavour, maybe?
Oh, that fake bubblegum
that
you get in American stuff, and like the blue ice lollies and stuff.
Or you can get Ramune flavour Kit Kat.
Really?
There have apparently been 36 flavours of Ramune, including original, but I've only got 5.
The thing is, whenever people were saying ramen at first, I actually thought...
The original ramen flavour is lemon lime.
Well, because of the way they say it on the show,
yeah.
I thought they were saying ramen. So ramen soda. And I was just like, so is that noodle soda that they're always drinking? And yet, genuinely, for years, when I first saw the series, and even when I second saw it, just until I actually went to university, I think, I thought of ramen as being ramen soda. Because I'd never had ramen, I just knew it as being, like a noodle dish. I was like, are you drinking, then, the broth from ramen or something?
Mm. Interesting enough, the other one that I brought up, that for some reason I never got into it, despite the fact it's mild grapefruit flavour is Pocari Sweat. So Pocari Sweat is mild grapefruit flavour, which I never
hate grapefruit.
I love grapefruit, which is what I've found weird, actually. It tasted nothing like grapefruit to me when I first had it. Maybe I've got to try it again.
Yeah, but things not tasting anything like what they're meant to be. Like, I hate bananas. Actual physical bananas I hate, but banana flavoured, I love that.
Interesting.
Banana yogurts, banana milkshake, banana, any dessert. It's fantastic. But no, you give me an actual banana, and I will tell you to stick that banana somewhere. Probably your mouth, because I'm sure you like them.
Exactly. Well, I've got quite a few of these now.
So, since we have to, if you're going to be doing one of these every time, do you want to rate it out of 5, this standard Ramune?
Standard Ramune, lemon lime, tastes pretty much like Sprite, now that I think about it.
So, expensive, difficult to drink Sprite.
It's not expensive if you buy it, properly.
In Japan.
This has to be imported, so yeah.
Yeah, it's the same as when we try and buy Pocky and it's like £1 a box or something.
Mm-hmm. So I'd say not wholly worthwhile, perhaps considering the import cost. But if you're in Japan, yeah, I'd prefer this to regular Sprite. It's a bit more fun. It's also a glass bottle, something that you just don't get in soft drinks in Europe and America anymore.
Unless you specifically ask for it in a specific restaurant.
Specific place, yeah, that's true. But most of the time, you can get this from corner shops in Japan, or the equivalent convenience stores they call them.
So the recommendation of the LHC is that you only buy this if you are there, if there is, no other real alternatives that are that cheap, And if you want to really confound any of your friends who have not watched RahXephon or had this drink before...
Well, no, yes, I think that's the great appeal. I think the great appeal, of course, is to buy this for your friends and see them get endlessly confused.
To any trolls listening, buy Ramune. You'll with all the people you know.
Which is weird, because it's like, I think they'd have more trouble actually getting into the bloody thing, rather than dealing with the marble. Getting into the thing was the tough bit. You have to rip it open, and then I was like, okay, so I press it in, and I was like, no, it seems that there's this little middle bit around the stopper that I need to remove, and then to just put this tiny little stopper, which I'm like, I could do that with just like a small cylindrical anything. And then you get an unsealable bottle, so you have to drink it there. So, overall, compared to a lot of soft drinks, it's really convenient. But in just the taste, it's alright, so I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 for original Ramune. Okay. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope that Lewis has managed to cut it so it's not stupidly long.
Oh, they're always going to be long, but still.
Oh, yeah, obviously. But yeah, we hope you'll join us next week when we're looking at episodes 9 and 10, where
Yes,
probably, I think, more Monster of the Weeks will happen.
Until next time, set your DVD recorder to the right time.